Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Stephen from Digital Renovations here. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the little bell icon, and do a funny little dance if you want to help me out and stay up to date with the latest videos here at Digital Renovations. So, what are we going to be talking about today? So, today we're going to have a little bit of a run through on React and Remix. So, what is React? What is Remix? How do you get started? We'll set up a little project in the Windows environment to get it running locally. So with that said, let's jump on in. We'll take a look at what's going on in the world of React and Remix. So let's start with what is React. React's probably the number one front-end library in the world at the moment. It's free, it's open source, it's a library that leverages JavaScript as its primary language. And yeah, it's fantastic when you want to make single-page apps, mobile apps, or server-rendered apps. And it was originally created and is currently maintained by the team at Facebook. Well, now Meta. But yeah, so cool little library that's out there. We're going to be running Remix for our framework. It uses React. It's been around for a while. By contrast, whilst React has always been open source, Remix is was a pay-to-use model. It's now freely available. It's open source, which was a pleasant change because it was actually kind of expensive to use, certainly if you were getting started. So when we look at the Remix framework, it's mostly focused on server-side rendering. So it means it's really fast. It's really good for dynamically changing data, which means if you are trying to make an app or a website or something that has a lot of dynamic content, perfect. It is a little bit more complex than some of the other options out there, like say Gatsby, because you need to have a bit of an understanding of the server side to actually get it set up and running out in the wild. But it's it is a really good framework. It's very popular, and yeah, why don't we take a look at how to actually get started with React and with Remix. So what do we need to actually get set up? So Remix, as we mentioned, requires a server. So we're going to be running Node as our server. It doesn't need Node specifically, but Node is probably one of the most popular server technologies out there at the moment. Just keeping things also in the world of JavaScript, so there's a little bit less of a learning curve in terms of the languages required to get up and running. Node's fantastic. If you don't have Node installed, just head over to nodejs.org and you'll be able to download it. If you're unsure if you have Node installed, you can pop into your command prompt and just type node dash dash version and get a version number or an error message if you need to download it. So when you install Node, you're going to get Node.js, obviously, the server. You'll get NPM, Node Package Manager, and NPX, Node Package Execute. We can cover a bit more about the difference between Node Package Manager and Node Package Execute in a different video, but Node Package Execute is how we're going to be installing React and getting things up and running. So the other thing that we're going to be using is Visual Studio Code. And when I say using, we will open it and briefly close it again. This is my preferred code editor. So if you want to grab a copy of that as well, click download, and yeah, once you've got all that set up, we can jump in and take a look at creating our first app. Exciting times. So once you're all set up there, if you've seen some other tutorials, you've probably seen a lot that leverage Create React App. The Create React App project has been apparently stagnant for a long time, which is what's prompted me to create this video. I don't think it's formally been deprecated or anything, but even if you go on the website now, you see that there's broken images and it's not the thriving project that it once was. So if we want to jump in, all we need to type is npx for the node package execute, create dash remix. It's very tricky naming conventions they've got there, and just throw at latest on the end to grab the latest version of it. At this point, the Remix installer is going to take over and ask if we want to install some packages and set up a Git repo and bits and pieces. So first up, it's going to ask us what we want to call it. So we're going to call this one app name. You can call it whatever you want your app to be named, but I'm going to call it app name. There are a few different templates that are on offer. This is just using the default one. Maybe we might do another video down the line if people are interested in that, to cover off what the difference between the templates are. If you are interested in that, leave a comment down below and let me know. Next, we are going to initialize a Git repo. Now, as you can see, I'm working in my GitHub directory over here because it just makes it nice and easy to share source code. You don't need to do this, but as it says, it's even got recommended written next to it, so it's a helpful little tip. So I'm just going to hit yes here. And do we want to install dependencies with npm also recommended? I'm going to hit yes there, and I suggest you do the same because a Remix does have some dependencies there that are required, unless you've got a heap of Remix projects already up and running, at which point I thank you for watching the video, but do question why you're here. So it's now going to run through and install all the dependencies that we're going to need to get up and running with our React Remix project. Sometimes I do feel like this does require the Jeopardy thinking music while it's running through, particularly if you've got a slow computer like I do. Alright, so now we can see that the dependencies are all installed, Git's ready to go, and we are, in the words of the installer, done. That's it. Winner. So Remix actually has quite a good community behind it, so if you want to jump in, you can actually take a look at their Discord channel. You can see that the project is now set up in the directory app name as we set it up before. Alright, so now that it's all done, if you've got Visual Studio Code installed, you can just type in code ./app name, or whatever you called it. All being right with the world, Visual Studio Code will open, and if you look over here in the left-hand column, you'll actually see all of our files ready to go, ready to start work on your project. That's not the focus of what we're doing today. We're not actually going to be building anything. We'll shrink that back down. Back in here, how do we get things actually up and running from this point? So say you've done some work, you've built your app, you're super happy, you want to test it out maybe. From here, we will compile our code. So we're going to leverage something called Vite, which was installed when you installed Remix as one of those dependencies. So we're going to cd into our app. So cd app name. You can see all of those files that we were just taking a quick look at in Visual Studio Code. And we will run npx for the node package executor, remix, vite, build, file, build. There we go. Hit enter. Now we need, once again, our thinking music to start playing as it runs through and actually compiles everything for us. So you can see there that it's actually building out everything we need to deploy this for production. It's built out all our modules. And now we are good to go. So what has that actually done? So it's created a build directory for us. So if we jump back in here, we can see that there's a build directory. We go cd build. We'll be able to see that there is a server and a client directory now there with everything that we need to get this up and running. So you can largely ignore that if you would like for right now. We're going to go back to our sort of project root directory, if you will. And we are going to run the server. So how do we actually get this up and running? We will type in npx for the node package executor, remix, serve, not server. I typed server before and could not work out what was going wrong, and then realized it was a typo. So remix serve, remix hyphen serve. And then we are going to point it at the build directory, the server folder, and tell it to use index.js to get that running. So hit enter. A little bit more thinking music, but not too bad this time. And now we can see that it's up and running on localhost port 3000. So if we jump in here, open a new tab, localhost 3000. Ta-da! How good's that? So we've got our Remix app up and running on our local environment in Windows. If this has been helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you want to see some more content like this, let me know. If you've got any thoughts or anything that you want to learn more about, please drop a comment down below, and I will see you next time.